Welcome everyone back to the Sanderlanche podcast. We are doing Dawnshard chapters 10 through 16. In all these chapters, Risen fairly quickly cottons onto the fact that Nickley is the traitor and kicks him off the boat. Not that that really stops him because he just kind of rocks back up a little bit later anyway, but whatevs. And they finally make it to Amia. They land on the island and they do a whole bunch of exploring and they realize, yeah, there's something very suspicious about all the stuff we're finding pretty much as soon as we hit land. And they realize that there are traps in place. The Lopen and Rushu find their way to the Oath Gate and confirm it's still there. And then Nickley comes back, and so Risen and Cord jump into the water and swim through a tunnel and find a whole bunch of treasure, but no way out. So crazy shit going on. I'm Dak, and with me is
Jamie,
Joe,
and Data.
So strap in, Sanderlanche is about to begin.
So yeah, 7 chapters, a good chunk of this little novella we've been reading, and finally made it to the island. Finally got some I don't know if there's action happening exactly. It was like a lead up to action. But what did you guys think of these 7 chapters?
these were good. I feel like we were ready for a little bit of action, bit of something to happen. I think it was really well written, actually. That suspense, like, everyone's kind of feeling something's weird and we just can't put our fingers on it. And, look, we're going to look around, and Lopen's, constantly looking over his shoulder, and it's like, it feels too easy. There's something not right. Even from like the moment they get through the storm, you're like, yeah, this feels like a trap. Yeah, not sure how that's going to go, but I actually really like how it's panning out. Super happy that Risen was onto Nickley when she started giving the signals to take down the traitor and all that sort of stuff. I was like, oh, she knows. There's zero chance she's going for Cord. So I was really happy with how that panned out. Not surprised at all that Nickley did not stay contained. I mean, she wasn't surprised that he wouldn't stay contained, but I feel like Cord maybe should have seen more of that coming, but I guess she even says didn't realize that they can take on human form. So I was like, oh, okay, that explains that a little bit more. But yeah, it's all heating up now, isn't it? It's exciting. We found a fake Oath Gate, a real Oath Gate, fake gem hearts. Like, I'm super excited to see why they made these decisions and what is happening on this island. Yeah,
you guys were all having, I think, that same prediction last time, or at least the thought that maybe the end of that scene is Risen realizing, Nickley maybe is the suspicious one here. And so you guys nailed that really well.
I think I would have been really disappointed in Risen if she had arrested Cord. Like, no. But at least you had a couple of those conversations already. I was like, you've developed a relationship here. You're not going to buy this for a second. So yay us.
Well, and yeah, she's like the trade master. She's the one who's supposed to be like very savvy about interactions with people and stuff like that. So I like that she spotted that too. Also, I like what you said about the feeling like something's wrong the whole time. And of course, for us, we know to some extent like that things are more serious than they realize when they get to the island. But so maybe it's even heightened for us, that feeling of like, oh, we know the shoe is going to drop, which is when and how is it going to drop. But yeah, I agree that it was set up for everyone pretty well.
Yeah,
I mean these chapters were super fun, like Jamie said, building the suspense, getting into, and I feel like we left off just at the right cliffhanger. It's like something happens to Risen. We're not sure what it is, but she absorbs some kind of something from the mural. And so definitely interested to know kind of what's going on with that. Also, the Sleepless seem to be really, really terrified that something on the island that they might have access to is going to affect the larger Cosmere, because they specifically say that. So
Yeah.
I'm really interested to know, like, what is the deal? Like, is this thing that she just absorbed from the mural the thing they were worried about? What is it? What does it have to do with anything? You know, normally when we hear disembodied voices speaking into people's brains, they end up not being super great. So that is a little like, ooh, what's happening? That may
Yeah,
not be
that's
good.
rarely good, right?
It's rarely been good in the Cosmere when you hear disembodied voices in your head. They're usually not nice guys. They're usually trying to coerce you into doing something you shouldn't do. So hopefully that's not the case this time, but we'll find out.
I was trying to think
So,
of
yeah.
if it's ever been good. I guess like the Stormfather was like that for Dalinar, and you could call that one a good one. But
I guess he was real for a while. He was real, real jerky. He's just kind of like, I'm not telling you that. I'm not telling you that either. But you're right. I guess technically on Roshar there have been occasions where speaking to Spren, right? It's like, and in all actuality, like, we know, even though it sounds like a disembodied voice, it's like we know the Stormfather is like, we know what the Stormfather is, right? Like it's
Right.
it's a primal force Spren that is on Roshar. So we know like where that disembodied voice is coming from. But unlike, you know, Ruin and other things, we're like, whoa. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. This whole novella has been really fun. I'm almost sad to see it end so soon, because I know our next section is going to be the end, and just like always, there's still like a lot of questions that I feel like Brandon is not going to be able to address by the end of the novella. So I'm like, oh man, we're not going to get all the good answers. But hopefully we'll get at least some insight into the Sleepless folks and what's going on with them. Of course, now they've painted that other one we met with Lift in a different light. So it's like, okay, so what is that guy's objective versus what are these guys' objectives? So lots of stuff to think about. So just excited to finish it up.
Yeah, it's not enough that we have to have a group out there with their mysterious machinations that are secretly a bunch of crabs lumped together in the shape of whatever. But now that group has like multiple offshoot secret organization type.
Yeah.
Like you've got Arklow, and then they said like he's not as bad as the true traitors, which it's like, okay, I guess maybe that's more of them.
Yeah. I wonder if Arklow is a part of like the Kelsier Ghost Bloods. Because I could see like one of their type of beings like shooting off from that. But yeah, whatever the true traders are, I don't know.
Right.
This even though they're not really similar in like abilities / powers, the Sleepless remind me of like the Khandra. I think we talked about that in previous episode. Just kind of like the way they are like, we've got to do something, and these people are going to whatever. Like, I don't know. It gives me a very similar vibe.
Plus, they pose as people.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
pose as people. That's true.
They're very secretive. They're out there hiding in plain sight, kind of, as people. I can see the similarities for sure.
One is crab, one is slug.
Yeah, one is goop, one is
I guess I'd never thought of them as slugs before, but I could see where you would go that direction.
Yeah, I was just thinking it's a goop.
Yeah, shapeless, formless things.
Yeah, we know salt doesn't hurt them.
That is true. Yeah, no, like good chapters. I agree. It's like it almost doesn't feel quite like a Stormlight story because we were going through it at such a clip. But no, I'm enjoying I enjoy the faster pace. I'm like, cool. We're not just beating around the bush here. I had a feeling it's like, oh yeah, we talked last week. Yeah, she's gonna click to the fact that Nickley is the traitor, and I thought to myself, it's like, well, it's not really like Brandon to like reveal a secret like that to the audience and then keep it a secret to the characters for very long. And then as soon as I thought that, I thought, no, wait, that's not true. We had an entire book where everyone's like going, who killed Sadius? And then Adelin's like, yeah, it was me, Dad. And they're just like,
FYI.
oh, shit, okay. So, but yeah, no, like it felt like the natural place to do it. And as soon as it happened, you're just like, well, we haven't seen the last of him. I am still curious as to what else is in the water, the thing the Lopen sees. And it's like, oh yeah, that's the thing that drains Stormlight. I'm like, is it? Or is this... I don't know. I don't know what's going on. There's a lot of confusing details, like whatever's going on with Risen. But, you know, it's fun, it's breezy, and yeah, no, I like it. I like these characters. This has given me an appreciation for the Lopen, which I think wouldn't have come through in the main novels, which is good.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, you definitely kind of get more inside his head and motivations and stuff than we might otherwise.
Yeah, not that I dislike the Lopin, but there are times when he's just a bit much.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I definitely see that, and you kind of feel the same way about Lift. I feel like sometimes where it's like she's cool, but she can be a bit much.
Yeah.
And we've gotten novellas now that kind of feature both of them heavily. So maybe Brandon's aware of that and is like, I'm gonna keep them mostly in these shorter stories. It's funny you talk about because things are happening fast. They kind of have to happen fast, even with the mysteries in since we're in such a short book. Somebody posted after our first episode about this went up in the Discord. They're like, this week the crew says, "Ooh, is this story a mystery? Let's see if we can figure out the spy." And then the next week, oh, I see, mystery solved. Okay.
And again, that happened to us all the time, especially in like Mistborn OT, where it's like we make this grand prediction of I think this is going to happen in the next chapter. That literally happened. We're just, with little fanfare, and we're like, oh, all right.
Alrighty then. Yeah. But we talked about last time also, given how long in these Stormlight books we generally have to wait for answers, it's kind of nice to get them so quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like with comic relief characters especially, it's nice when you take a moment and you get into their head and you're like, and you see the depth of the character rather than just like the jokes, which is normally what we get from Lopin.
Yeah.
I like being inside Lopin's head just because it's like you see the motivation behind what he's
Mhm.
doing a little bit more. Because I feel like with Lift, you didn't really see the motivation because she's like wild kid, just like spewing stuff, and it's like to the outside, that is kind of what Lopin feels like sometimes. But now it's like, oh no, he's like this is kind of calculated. He's kind of doing this on purpose to be silly, and like he
Yeah.
knows that he's being that way. But that's just kind of like how he is. So I kind of liked it. It helps us get kind of in his head a little bit and be like, oh, okay, this guy's an adult. He knows he's being silly.
Yeah. But like not in a really obnoxious way like Wayne was.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Wayne was, I feel like, was more of like closer to a Lift and mentality character. It's just like you're in his head and it's bonkers bonanza. And like Lopin, I feel like is actually kind of more of a normal guy that's just kind of goofy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say that's a good way of putting it.
No, that's fair. Yeah. The part of the thing about Lift is yes, she's chaotic, like you're saying, like she feels like a very chaotic character, and even in her head when she does crazy stuff, it's kind of like because I want to do crazy stuff.
She's also a kid, so like you get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there are times with Lift where like she gives this reason in her head, which seems kind of a silly reason, and then as the story progresses, you find out, oh no, even in her head, she's not telling us the truth about why she's doing these things, and those are the moments where you see her emotion, like the depth of her character come out a little bit too, and it's like, oh, that's sad. So yeah, it's also different to be in a character's head when they're lying to themselves. So all right, let's get into these chapters. So we left off with Nick Lee really hard selling Risen on Cord being the bad guy here. And so we come back and Risen is making her way around the ship with her newfound freedom. And it's very awesome. They lift her up and she can move about. I would be terrified personally that, like she mentions it, like the ship's going to turn one way and I'm just going to keep going the other way or something. But it seems to work out. And then Nick Lee goes below decks. Risen notices this. And it says Cord took up her position near the prow. And so we know Cord's not down there. Nick Lee is. And they've come within sight of Amia, some of the landmass of Amia. So they're approaching their final destination now. And she has this conversation with Cord, Risen does, about like, why are you here? Like, I get why the Radiants wanted you here, but why did you agree to come? And she says, she talks about not wanting to leave the peaks, but they had to leave to join her father. And now what she wants, why is she on this trip? She wants treasure. And Risen's like, wow, just treasure. That's it? It's like, oh yeah, we've heard lots of stories about Akina, great treasure, and I wanted some of him. And Risen's kind of disappointed. Like, I mean, I guess that makes sense. People want to be rich, but I kind of expected more here.
Do not seek the treasure.
Nick Lee comes up from below decks and is like, hey, Risen, look what I found. Some Blackbane in her quarters. It's super poisonous, and she was gonna kill us all. And I know this is what killed the ship's pet. Poor Screech, his skin was all off color or her skin was all off color when they found her, and that's what this stuff does.
You seem to know
The
a lot
radiant-
for a guy who wasn't involved with it.
Yeah, right? Like, okay.
Yeah, he's pretty obvious here, and obviously we're about to find out that she had her own kind of hand in like making sure Cord didn't have anything suspicious before he went in there.
Yeah.
But he is kind of being a little too obvious.
I think there may be some desperation here. All of his other plans have failed, and he may even be thinking about them. Like, he may know that the others are gonna kill them if they don't turn around. And he likes them, so he's like trying whatever he can at this point. I don't know. We know that they tried their normal 2 things, and the 2 things didn't work. Now they've tried 3 or 4 things, and still no. So
Our normal 2 didn't work. We tried
territory.
an unnormal 3rd thing, and now we've come to our ultimate 4th thing.
The 4th thing. Yeah.
4 is death, isn't it?
No, 4 is this. 5th is
Like-
death. I think death is usually number 1. It sounds like.
Yeah. No. Like I think is it like in like Japanese folklore, the number 4 equates to death.
Oh, does it?
That's the 4th thing.
Yeah.
I think so.
In
I could be misremembering.
Chinese culture, 4 is widely considered unlucky because the pronunciation of the word is nearly identical to their word for death.
There we go.
So there you go. Fun fact for the day.
That's why the 4th thing is always death.
And Nicholas like, the Radiants are lying to us. Why would they work so hard to undermine this trip? And Rizen's like, yeah, why would they? I mean, it really doesn't make sense.
He's spinning a
The
tale
Radiants-
that makes no sense.
They work for Navani, and Navani is the one who wanted the trip. Like it's I don't know what the attempt is to sell here, but
It's like, imagine if this worked and it just created division between the Knights Radiant, and it's like the entire Radiant orders fell apart. Nicholas like, oh god, what have I done?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they want that. They don't seem to trust the Radiants.
Yeah, true.
It reminds me of a quote from Kathy Bates in The Office when she did guest appearance for like a couple seasons. It's like you trying to give me gravy and telling me that it's jelly, but I know it's not jelly because gravy ain't sweet. It's like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense what you're saying.
You know,
I
it
like
works
that.
because
That's a
Nicholas
fun
like,
quote.
I'm a good cook.
I'll make you some sweet gravy. You just wait. And the armsman is like, okay, is it time? And she's like, yep, take him. And they grab Nickley. It's like, what's going on? I revealed the traitor to you. What are you doing? And she's like, yep, you sure did.
Traitor. He's like, ah, damn it, been found out again.
And when she starts to explain, it really does seem obvious, where she's like, Nickley, of everybody on this boat, you are the only one constantly trying to get me to turn back. And then when you saw me searching for a culprit behind it all, you were like, I know who is behind it all and manufactured one. Like, it really does seem a little much.
Yeah, she's just like, damn it, Nickley, you're acting like a Scooby-Doo villain over here.
And
Just pulls off the mask and it's just all crabs.
yeah, it's just crabs all the way down. There's not even a mask, actually. That's the worst part.
She just like
It just rips the face
yeah,
off.
and it's just like turns her hand just is covered in crab. She's like, ew, what is this?
Gross.
And it's like, yeah, I had Kistlid, I can't even say his name, the armsman. I had him search Cord's room yesterday, and this bag that you've magically found in her room today was not there. So, and then you just started claiming expert knowledge of how it was used to kill the ship's pet, despite the fact that you didn't mention anything about this when you looked at the ship's pet in the first place. It's like, yeah, okay. And then they think like, oh, maybe she's one of those like enemy lightweavers, so they let Chiri like try to eat. Or I keep calling Nickley a she. I've done it multiple times. Like the name seems feminine to me, and so I keep doing that. But he's a he. They hold out Chiri toward him. And it's like, nope, not eating any light off him. Okay.
Do the sleepless even have gender though? Are we misrepresenting them?
That's an interesting point. I feel like I don't know.
Well, they made
I don't remember.
thousands of organisms, so like,
Yeah.
it
Are
seems
all of
like,
those organisms
if
the
it-
same gender? That's the question. Do the crabs have gender, or can they change their gender?
I mean,
I don't
really, it
remember if
seems
they-
like there's a whole group of them. It's like, they, them seems like really applicable because there's they're bundles.
Yeah, I want to see. I want to
That's
see.
true.
I want to hear about like the anatomy of the Sleepless from Brandon. Like, I want a graph. Like, are all of the individual pieces belonging to one entity specifically? Can they interchange, or are they all like marked in some way as one thing? Like, how does that work? Is it all? We know it's a hive mind, so like, but the hive mind seems to have individual components. So like, I don't know. How does it all work?
That is an excellent question that it would be nice to get more information about for sure. I had to go back to the part where they're talking to each other, and the one that they use, that I'm finding that they use kind of pronouns to refer to, is Arklo, when they're talking about Arklo, and they call Arklo it. They say it meddles more and more. So maybe that's how.
No,
They
damn.
just refer to themselves as it.
Since Nickley is currently presenting to the humans as a human, he's going by
Yeah.
he, so I guess.
Also, is Arglo still tied into like this hive mind thing where like when they're all thinking, can he hear what they're thinking?
Also, good question. I don't know.
And can they hear what the traders are?
Basically,
I don't know. I feel like you can't be a trader if everybody knows what you're thinking, right? Because it's like you're betraying your intent to betray. I don't know. It's a whole
Yeah,
thing.
it's like can either side manually cut out of this group? Well, and I guess we don't really know how they're communicating as a group,
Right.
so it's hard to say.
Yeah, it could be like they have to open some kind of communication thing.
I mean, for all we know, since they have lots and lots of little pieces, they may each just send one little bug, and they all sit in a room somewhere so that when they need to talk, they can chat to each other.
That's a good question, or that's a good point too. Yeah, that's weird, man.
And if that was the case, it would be easy to cut someone out. You just kick their bug out of the room, or if you want to leave, you just leave the room. But yeah, who knows?
Yeah. Also, like, can one of the individual Kremling things be killed? If so, how does that affect the whole? I don't know, man. There's just too many questions.
Right. There's so much, yeah. Who would have thought that guys made up of a lot of tiny crabs would be this complicated?
I mean, I feel like if you're made up of a lot of tiny crabs, you have to be complicated. It must be like a prerequisite.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of necessary.
I do like the bit where like the other guy on the ship is like, "Oh, I can make him talk," and Nickley's like, "Fucking try it, mate."
Right? He's like, yeah, okay, good luck with that.
Just because, like, oh, he really has no idea.
No, they don't. That's the thing. Like, they don't have a comprehension of exactly what's going on here. And yeah, because Nickley will not say anything, will not answer their questions. He's just like, I failed. We're done. I'm not going to say anything else. Except, like, I beg you with all sincerity to turn back. And so, yeah, they decide this isn't a fused. It looks like a regular person. Cord hadn't seen any weird sprint around him, so it's probably not, like, to do with that. Also, Nickley has an assistant called Plamry, who I feel like we have not heard about until now. I don't remember them mentioning this person.
I was confused about that too. I was like, is this somebody I should already know? Because I don't feel like I know this person.
Yeah.
Maybe it was
This
like,
definitely felt like new information.
yeah, maybe it was mentioned in like a one-off thing, like one time, and it's like, oh yeah, that guy.
And so Risen says, Radiant Lopen, I want you and Huio to fly our captives to the main island, lock them to something convenient that you find, leave them food and water, and then come back. We'll send word, and people will come out to collect them. He's like, all right. And even as she says it, she's like, I fully expect Nickley to get away by the time that they find him, but we got to do what you got to do. Like, what else are we going to try? And I love the note that they find the annotated recipe book that Nickley had, and another bag of poison. Humans prefer salt in abundance, is one of the notes that was made, or cook longer than you think will be required, as they often eat their meals mushy.
Made me think of The Simpsons, like How to Cook for Humans.
Yeah, right?
It'd just be disturbing if you picked that up and not knowing that Nickley is not human. It's like, what?
What a
Who
weird
are
way to
you?
say that.
Well, because like they were running on the assumption it's like, oh, maybe he's one of the fused. So I guess they probably just go, well, he must be, I guess.
Oh, that's true, because they're not humans, so they might make those same kind of notes. Fair, yeah.
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 Kind of forget
Just know
sometimes that humans aren't the only people running around here.
just like he just has in brackets. It's like, what is the deal with these spices they have?
What is the deal?
And so she decides, just in case, we're going to have to institute some extra precautions, like maybe feeding some rats a little bit of each meal before it's served to the crew. Which, all right, I guess that's one way.
Just imagine like there's a page for like it's like seafood chowder or something like that, and it's just like written at the bottom. It's like, how fucking dare you? Like
I
I think
guess
there was a robot chicken gag where it's like Admiral Akbar and the woman from the rebellion whose name escapes me were at a restaurant, and she goes, "I'll have the calamari," and he goes, "Well, I guess I'll have the insensitive bitch with a side of fuck you." That is his reaction to like them eating crabs.
they are called Mon Calamari, so it's all around offensive. Yeah, I get it.
Yep.
The next chapter is the storm. Is it all like almost all the storm around the island there, and it's from Lopin's perspective, where he's impressed. The sailors are as they go into the storm, they're doing an amazing job. But also, I don't feel like we knew this about from the last time we saw them, but it's like, oh, you can't just fly through the storm. What they do is spiral around, gradually getting closer on each pass until they get to the center of the storm, which just sounds like there is no way you could spend more time in the storm than that. So pretty terrifying.
Yeah. I guess, that is going with the flow rather than trying to force through it.
Yeah. And I mean, they know what they're doing, so they make it, And they're like, Lopin, you might want to go below decks. It's going to get wet up here. And he's like, nah, I'm good. I won't melt, Hragos. And he's gotten to know these guys over their trip. It's like, that guy has 6 daughters back home in Thalen City. Always eats with his mouth open, but always shares his booze. So, good guy. And there's very detailed descriptions of how amazed he is about this storm. It's like enormous walls of water that they're crashing through, and wind and waves just everywhere. And he just kind of stands up there looking, and we don't know why at first. It's like he's Lopin, he's weird, he's going to hang out up here. And then there's the part where they start, competing. Like, oh my gosh, we went through a high storm out here, Lopin, you wouldn't believe it, waves as high as mountains. And he's like, you haven't seen anything. I was in a place where the Everstorm and the high storm met, and rocks were flying through the air like giant chunks of land. Ruined my storming trousers. And the captain's like, okay, that's enough. I don't have time for you two to compare sizes. And then a wave washes over the deck and knocks Vlixum off into the water. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Turlum. Vlixum was the guy who was comparing storms with.
Yeah, because I totally know the difference between those guys.
Yeah.
Turlum's the guy with 6 kids, man.
Might as well be Doug's again.
I feel like these names, and I don't know, maybe we were spoilt in Tress with Doug and the simplicity of Doug and multiple Dougs. But these names, I'm like, is Brandon just attempting to remove all vowels from these? I don't know how these are supposed to go.
Yeah, I could really go for some Dougs again, for sure.
Give me the Doug.
But it's just Thalen names, Risen. It's hard to say.
Maybe he's got a bag of Scrabble tiles. He's just reaching his hand in and pulling out random letters. And like, all right, how do I arrange this into a Thalen name?
You got to do it somehow, man.
That is actually how my sister suggested we name our firstbborn. So then she proceeded to send me examples, and they were not good.
They were not good.
They did have more vowels, though.
I saw a random Reddit post where this lady was like, we found out my sister-in-law was going to have a baby. We had a big celebration. She didn't drink, of course, but the rest of the family got kind of tipsy. And then they started throwing out crazy names. And one of her suggestions was like, you should name something memorable, like Gravity. And, they all laughed about how silly that was. And then the baby was born however many months later, and her mother-in-law messages her, and it's like, she fucking did it. And she's like, wait, what? She named the kid Gravity.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
People, man. Anyway, so yes, Turlum gets knocked into the ocean, claimed by the seas, and Lopin's like, well, we can't have that. And he lights up with Stormlight and goes into the water after him.
I got to say, hands down, this is the coolest thing the Lopin has ever done.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, claimed by the sea, not on my fucking watch.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the Windrunner crew, but I don't know that we've ever seen him do Windrunner stuff of trying to protect other people. And this is not only that, but it's extremely badass.
Yeah.
And it says that he's been practicing, doing scouting runs to make sure lashings worked underwater and everything. And so now is the time it pays off. And not only that, he has Rua down there who can help guide him towards stuff because Rua doesn't care about the wind and the waves. And so they get a hold of Turlum and they bring him back out and back onto the deck of the ship and then lashes him in place so he doesn't go sliding off again. And they're all like, holy crap, you saved him. And he's like, yeah, it's kind of our thing. Like, that's what we do, you know? And then he looks around and everyone's so happy about this. And he realizes like, oh, they just expected that they would lose people. Like they just went into this storm knowing that's going to happen, to the point that there were people under like below decks who were ready when they lost somebody to come up and take their place. And so it's like, that's kind of sad. And he's just like, well, no, not while I'm here. They're not. You don't let your friends drown in nameless oceans during a frigid storm. That was sure basic friendship rules right there. Okay, yeah, being the Lopin's friend has some benefits.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's the thing. Is the Lopin being silly? Yes, but is he also being like, yeah, you take care of your friends? Like, yeah, he is. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
Also has a few more abilities than your average Joe.
Right. That helps. And then he goes up to the captain and with her permission sticks one of her feet to the deck so that she can stay steady. And she's like, wait, you could have done that all along? Like, I saw you struggling to stand up earlier when the waves were knocking us back and forth. Why didn't you just stick yourself down? He's like, that didn't seem sporting. All right, man, whatever. He says, you keep us going straight, Captain. I'll watch the crew. So, yeah, having windrunners on board, for sure, useful. But that's also when Rua spots something dark in the water. And he's like, oh, that's the thing, probably the thing that ate the Stormlight out of the windrunners before. And Lopin's like, how can you be sure that's one of them, Nako? And it says Rua simply was. And Lupin, I keep doing that. Lopin trusted him. Rua would know about this sort of thing the same as Lopin knew about one-armed Herdazian jokes. And then I love the note that if he has to watch himself if he goes in after another sailor, because if that thing grabs him while he's in the middle of the storm in the water, well, he'd have to learn some dead Herdazian jokes to tell in the afterlife.
Solid Lopin burn on himself.
Yep.
It's good to know how accepting that he is. He's like, well, I'll need some new jokes, that's all.
He's going to find earless Jacks in the afterlife and just like, oh man, I'm ready for you now.
And he saves like a couple more people, or at least one more person, before they make it through the storm, but they eventually do. I like the second guy, he's watching so closely, he grabs him before he even hits the water. So this is nice to have. And they make it through, and it's like, we made it. And it's all calm in here. Like, what the hell? And they just happened, I guess, to come across the same spot that we saw that last ship hit, because there's all those big stone spikes, but conveniently there's a big gap right in the middle. And on the other side, there's no.
I did wonder if the Amians were going to plug that hole. Evidently not.
Yeah, I guess we don't know for sure that they can. We don't know how long ago the spikes were put in place and by who, but and the captain, the chapter ends with the captain being like, well, hell, the place is real. Wow. And so the next chapter starts with Risen like, we're here, Cheery Cheery, I brought you home. But whatever is here that's supposed to make Cheery Cheery better, he doesn't seem to know it. Or she, I forget if Cheery Cheery's a boy or a girl offhand. And so they make a plan. They haven't seen anything. There's men with spyglasses watching the island, but so far nothing happening, nothing suspicious. And but we are getting lookouts report a bunch of gem hearts just lying on the beach with shells of fallen beasts. So it's like, okay, let's send an advance party in to kind of scout things out, and then we'll go from there. And Cord sees a bunch of those Luxspren hanging around over the island, or not actually approaching the island, above them in their ship. See. And she's like, Radiant the Lopin and Ardent Rushu, I assume you two will want to be on your secret mission. And they're like, oh, crap, she knows about that. Yeah.
Sorry, we do have a thing we're doing.
And so they're going to send this advance party to make sure everything's safe before we send the non-combatants. And then Lupin, damn it. Then Lopin, Huio, and Rushu all jump in the boat, and Rizen's like, Ardent Rushu, I suggest waiting until we're certain the beach is safe. And she goes, a fine suggestion, but don't worry about me. And she's thinking, well, I guess technically I'm not Rushu's boss, so I can't exactly order her around, but whatever. And then the Luxspren come low, and Cheery Cheery starts chirping, and then the Luxspren dive. It says they begin to move more quickly. Risen loses sight of them. Cord gasps, and then Cheery Cheery dives into the water. She followed the Spren, Cord said. Something is happening. Something is odd. And the captain's like, did you know that they could swim? And Risen's like, no. I hope it can swim. It jumped in the water. And now she's all sad. Like, what if Chiri doesn't come back?
Yeah, it is sad.
And then Risen says that she's going to wait here and see if Chiri returns. And it is she. So Chiri's a girl. Please bring me word from the shore party after they've inspected the beach. And Lopin we cut to him in the next chapter, all dramatically standing in the prow of the boat, like a George Washington crossing the Delaware sort of scene.
Just imagining the Lopin doing that. Even though he's had 2 arms for a while, I keep, like, in my head, I just keep imagining with 1 arm.
Understandable, I think, And then he has a whole conversation with his cousin. It's like, can you believe this older cousin stepping foot on land no person has ever visited? And Huey is like, dude, there's a city here. It was literally one of the capitals of the Epoch Kingdoms. It's like, okay. But there's probably a portion no one's ever stepped on, right? And Huey is like, no, given the population numbers and lifespan, no, probably not.
He just keeps crapping on him. He's like,
But the thing is, like, I don't get the impression that Huio is like intentionally trying to bring him down.
He's just like scientifically that doesn't
facts.
make sense. Scientifically that doesn't make sense. He's like,
Which makes it all the better when later on Lopin's like, so Rushu, do you think I could say that, like, no Herdazian has ever set foot on this land before? And she's like, oh, well, certainly. Herdaz didn't exist back then. It's like, yes.
All right.
All right.
I got something going for me.
But as a retaliation for bringing him down, Lopin's like, cousin, do you know why it is people stick you to the wall so often? It's like, to judge the relative strength of radiance by oath level, measuring the duration of lashings. It's like, no, it's because you're no fun.
Hey, words hurt, Lopin.
I mean, I was like, wait, does everybody stick Huio to the wall? I thought that was just a Lopin thing. Now I'm feeling bad for them.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we need to practice lashings. Get Huio. Like, oh.
That's one way to standardize the weight of what you're sticking to the wall, but geez.
Yeah, it's like, we got to practice with the same thing every time. Come on, Huio. Oh.
It's like does Huio ever protest? No, he just says Bridge 4. He can't speak Alethi.
He's
like, no, he seems into it. It's fine.
He's actually.
He also thinks he's helping people.
Yeah, the whole time he's actually been like, this is the worst. I hate this.
And Huio's like, no, I decided to let it be fun. You get a new perspective on life when hanging from the wall. So, he's just like, eventually I just accepted that this was my lot and I decided I'm going to see it as fun.
Yeah. It's one way to do it.
I also like that Lopin has used a lashing so that the people in his boat don't have to row. He's like, yeah, you can help your friends out, Good guy, the Lopin. Although in his own head, he does not think of himself as the Lopin. It just says like Lopin said or Lopin did. So
yeah, he doesn't give himself his own moniker. That's interesting.
That's only for lesser men to call him the Lopin.
Yeah, call me the Lopin. No. You're no fun.
Oh, man. Let's see. Oh, and there's a talk about, like, Lopin's, like, don't let people tell you that style is limited. Style is the best resource in the world because we make as much as we want, and there's plenty shore for everybody. Like, all right, good for you.
Yeah, nice pontificating.
And Rushu's like, so, Radiant Lopin, what do you make of this? Talking about all the gem hearts on the ground. And he goes, there's money lying on the storming ground. And Rushu theorizes, along with Huio's help, that maybe this is like a graveyard where these creatures come to die? Who knows? I'll have to write to Brighton Shalon. She studies great shell life cycles. So good to know she's kept up with her like Chasm Fiend research. And the armsman is like, I suppose these are cursed and I should forbid my men from indulging? And Rushu's like, no, that's silly. We're here to loot the place. Have the men heave ho or whatever and get on with it. And one of my favorite lines, I feel like, I want to sleep in a bed of boundless lucre tonight. And he's like, aren't you an Ardent and you can't own anything? He's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean I can't lie in a big pile of money.
I'm not owning it. I'm just transporting it and enjoying it while I have it.
Good for you, Rushu. She's another real odd character who I enjoy. So
secretly just channeling her, Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, swimming in coins would be difficult. Swimming in giant gemstones might be worse.
Just imagine her. Yeah, just imagine her back on the boat in her room, and then the song starts playing. Life is like a hurricane.
I'd be okay with that, actually. Yeah, okay. Okay, so they continue on, and we get to the part where Lopin is thinking about how, like, he and Huio don't have swords, which was a discussion last time. Like, Do they have a sword? No, these guys don't have living blades. He'd suggested Kaladin to send Teft along, and Kaladin's like, yeah, I told Navani that we should do that too. But she said if the Oathgate was in enemy hands, she didn't fancy sending them a key. So that's actually good thinking, I feel like.
Yeah, checks out.
The place is not covered in creme, so it's like high storm water does not fall here. Maybe that also explains why the gems aren't like lit up with stormlight. And then Lopin just goes, I once ate 12 chowder wraps in under 2 hours. It was sure kind of the same thing. In response to like nothing in particular that she said, except that she was looking at the gemstones and she gave him a baffled look. Maybe she didn't like chowder. So they're going to continue towards the city. Let's see. Huio has come up with a code to use with the span reads. For 1 means all well, 1 blink means all is well, 2 means I'm worried, 3 come back immediately. We never do see that actually put into use, but it was kind of like writing, but it was all right because it was numbers. And nobody thought numbers were unseemly for a man to use. Lopin sure used numbers for lots of things. He'd even made up a few. What the hell is that? What's it? I don't. Yeah, that's where he asks about, am I setting foot where no Herdazian has gone before? And she's like, oh yeah, definitely. Yours is a relatively new country, after all. I presume there's lots of places a person of Herdazian nationality has never stepped before you. All of your Etheru, for example. And he's like, ha, stupid Huio. Let's go make history. Gosh. We cut back to Risen, who's on the ship with Cord, and they have decided not to go ashore. Risen's waiting for Cherry to come back, and Cord is just like, something weird is going on out here. And she's like, well, but there's all that treasure on the beach. That's why you came, right? And Cord's like, no, yeah, that's not the kind of treasure I wanted. She wants shard blades and armor, like the Alethi have. The peaks have no shards. And for a long time, the Horn-Eater peaks, like, it was too difficult to get there. Nobody cared enough about them to go and try to attack or whatever. But she says that things are changing. The Alethi know now, and the enemy always knew, the peaks have a gateway to the world of gods and Spren. Soon everyone will know, and they will want our land. We need shards and shard bearers and radiance. My father could be both, but he thinks tradition is more important than our people. I will do this thing instead. Which, ouch, burn, Rock.
Never pictured Rock as the dude from Fiddler on a Roof before, going tradition. But here we are.
I feel like what we know of him, that's like pretty big with him. It's like, no, I'm not a warrior. I can't do that thing. Because like you would imagine that somebody who sticks to that when he's being shot with arrows and having to like run a giant bridge, like you know, if you stick it to it, if you stick it to it in that life or death situation.
Yeah, I guess I just needed Cord to like put it in those terms for me.
Yeah, which I feel like this is a classic thing, right? She's of the younger generation. She's like, there's tradition, but then there's practicality. Like we've got to do something to protect ourselves.
Yeah, it's like we can respect the past without letting it, kill us.
Yeah, and from her perspective, like when she puts it like that, it's like, yeah, her dad won like shard plate and 2 shard blades when he killed Amaram. But he doesn't want to be a shard bearer. He's not supposed to fight, so he's not going to use those. He gave one of the blades away to Dalinar, gave him Oathbringer back. So it's like, oh yeah, when you think about it from the perspective of like, we need these things to keep our people from being like exterminated or taken over. Yeah, okay, that seems kind of messed up. But she's going to find some shards, and she's going to protect her people. And it's funny, because within these chapters, she totally finds some shards. Like, didn't expect it to work out so well for her so quickly. Or at least, do you call it shards if it's just the plate? There's lots of pieces to the plate.
I think they still call it that. I feel like they have in the past.
Okay. And yeah, it's like, if there's shards in the city, the Radiants are going to claim them. I need to look somewhere else. And I love the conversation about, like, she doesn't know the word for Nickley trying to make her the bad guy. And he's like, oh, he framed you. Framed? Like a picture? Yeah, same word, different meaning. Why with so many sounds do lowlanders make words that sound the same but mean different things? We've all been there, Cord.
Yep. Welcome to the English language.
Or the whatever language.
Right, yeah, Alethi, but, for us, it's like English language is like that.
And then they start talking about like what seems weird about what they found here. All these gems. She's like, one time me and my Baps went to trade with a guy who left lots of spheres hanging around casually, a sign of wealth. But Vistum told me People don't leave money out casually. They do it to make you see it, or they want to pretend that they have more than they do, or they want you to fixate on that and ignore something bigger. Oh, that's what's wrong with this picture. Okay. Next chapter, chapter 15. Lopin flies up to see what the place looks like from the air, and then when he comes back down, Rushu pulls out a sketch or a map, and he's like, "Hey, that looks like the city." So yeah, this is an ancient map of Akina, so I guess we've proved that we're in the right place. And then there's discussion about where would we find the Oath Gate, and Rushu's like, well, there's an optimal spot that the Oath Gate should be, but none of the ones we found so far have been in optimal locations, so they keep being where it's convenient for the ruling class to get to them. And he's like, storming Light Eyes, always making things more difficult for us common folk. And she's like, you're a Knight Radiant. He's like, yeah, the most common one.
I love that. It's like a constant reminder, like they don't see themselves like that way sometimes. It's just like, dude, you're technically like the highest Light Eye now. It's like, yeah, but not really.
Like you literally have superpowers? Yeah, whatever. You frequently tell me how uncommon you are, Lopin. It's only a contradiction if you think about it. And she's just like, I have no response to this. Which, I don't even know what that's supposed to mean, but it's great. Okay. Just don't think about it. That's all you got to do. And they get a message from Risen. The place is too expected, too perfect. And she's like, let me see one of those gemstones from the beach. And she pulls out a jeweler's loop to look at it. He's like, wait, you carry one of those in your pocket? And she's like, yeah, doesn't everybody? And she says, no, this is fake. It's quartz, not diamond. And quartz can't hold stormlight. It's not valuable. And thus my great fortune evaporates like a man's beauty upon the weathering shores of time. Like how that one time I sure almost had a chasm fiend pet that would, and she's like, yes, you told me 6 times. I don't feel like I've heard this story.
Come on.
I want to know.
Don't let us hear the story.
Was this recent?
Well, and he goes, I came up with a new joke for the end of it. I was going to say, and that's why I let it eat my arm. Funny, right? And so I guess that would have been, in theory, this was before he lost his arm, so probably not too recently.
Damn, I was hoping like there'd just be a bit of him trying to shove a chasm fiend through the Oath Gate, and Callan just standing there, just like, "What, dude? What the fuck?"
I feel like Lopin is the Joker in this moment. It's like he tells a bunch of different stories about how he loses his arm, none of them true.
Yep.
Perhaps they thought we would be so distracted by the riches that we'd be stunned and confused. They did not know that I am accustomed to such incredible sights, for I experience something even more impressive each morning after I awake, when I look in the mirror. And she's like, and you wonder why you're
too far.
You wonder why you're still single. And he's like, oh no, I don't wonder. Oh my gosh, this guy. I love that even Rushu, like the most absent-minded, ardent lady, is just like, this is why girls don't like you, man. Although now I kind of want to see a Lopin Rushu romance. I'm not sure Ardents are allowed to be
here for it. Yeah, probably not. But I feel like at the start, I was like, I don't think that these two would really get along very well, but I actually think they would get along really well. It's a little funny story between the two.
I think they're different enough that like they could complement each other well. So they find the Oathgate chamber, but the part that you stick the shard blade in is completely destroyed and broken or decayed away. No way to put the shard blade in, no way to rotate it. And he looks around, he's like, this is fake too, isn't it? The Oathgate on the Shattered Plain sat there, sure, for thousands of years, and it still worked when we found it. This place is better preserved, but the Oathgate mechanism is disintegrated. And she's like, yeah. But Rushu's like, you know what? I bet there's like a secret passage out of here. Like, let's look for a trap door. And sure enough, in one of like the most rundown buildings, they find a trap door that leads down. And she says that it's not uncommon for ancient cities to be buried over time, and another city just gets built on top. So if everything above is fake, the real city probably sank into the creme years ago. And she pulls out a soul caster to get them through a wall. And he's like, what? Holy crap, you have a soul caster? And she's like, yeah, I told Navani that she had to either send me with a soul caster or a blade. And she chose the more boring one. I do like being right, though. It makes my stomach flutter. And so they have to soul cast their way through a wall, and there's a path down to the actual Oathgate. And she's like, wow, they put a lot of effort into hiding this place. But why? And she's like, well, obviously they hoped that we'd find the fake one and then leave, assuming that, you know, it was all lost. And so Lopin actually has some clever moments here where he starts putting stuff together. He's like, so this was like a failsafe. If everything else didn't stop us from getting here, we'd get here, not find anything useful, and leave anyway. Which I guess maybe was the plan that the one of the Sleepless had, where he's like, no, we should let them get to the island. It wasn't to like murder them when they got there. It was probably the better for the long-term plan of letting them show up, find that there's nothing useful here, and then leave, and spread the word that there's no reason to go there. And Rushu's very proud of them. We outthought them. And Lopin realizes, oh crap, you're a genius, Rushu. And she goes, clearly. And he goes, but you're also a storming fool. Let's gather the sailors, stay here, try not to get killed. Because now that they're going to know that their fail-safe has failed, which means they're going to have to try something else. And it's not going to be good. When he arrived at the beach, he found Huio being eaten by a monster. And that wasn't the sort of event a cousin should miss.
I was a little bummed that we did not come back to the Lopin at that point. It's like, he's being eaten by a monster. And now we're not with Lopin.
Yeah, we've got a whole other chapter, and we don't come to that. We go to Risen instead, who, some of the Sleepless show up on the boat. Some creepy piles of crabs start popping up. Each one seemed to be carrying a piece of flesh on it. She even spotted one with an eyeball on its back. What is going on?
They just get creepier. Every time we see them on page, I'm like, ew, ew, ew. It's like knowledge of what they are. None of this is new information, but seeing it like written out like that is just, ugh.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Doesn't get any better.
And then they start like crawling over her, and she's trying to like unbuckle herself from her seat so she can get away because they're going to eat her or something. But no, they don't eat her. They just crawl past her, and it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be terrifying.
Turn into Nickley. It's fine. Hey, Nickley, long time no see, man.
Yep. Nickley pops up. It's the head came last, eyes popping into place as Kremlin squeezed inside the quote skull. The lines of the tattoos hid the seams in the skin. Yeah. And yeah, Kord's like, I did not realize the gods who sleep not, they can appear as people. Well, how do you fight one? And she's like, I told you can't. Lunu Anaki, he's a trickster god, warned of them during my grandmother's time when she was watcher of the pool. I wonder if that's Hoyd. I think we've heard him called the trickster god by Rocks. Maybe not. Somebody warned them about the Sleepless. Nickley says, we didn't expect to find one of the sighted here. You've long guarded cultivation's perpendicularity. It's regrettable you joined this expedition. And some more swarms form into individuals on the deck, and even more remain as scuttling masses. So there's several of them here, and it's disturbing. And Risen's like, hey, why don't we negotiate? And Nickley's like, yeah, sorry, too late for that. You ignored all the warnings, and your friends didn't take the bait. So.
I don't negotiate with terrorists.
For what it's worth, Risen, I'm sorry. I genuinely enjoyed our time together, but the very Cosmere is at stake.
What does that mean?
And then Kord says that was a distraction after she says something in Horn Eater. Be ready, hold your breath. And Risen's like, wait, hold my... And then Kord grabs her and jumps into the water. Yeah, someone whose legs don't work, that would be fucking terrifying to go into the ocean. Ugh. Not only that, but she like relives that moment of falling from way back when and hitting the water. Like, oh, this is too familiar. I don't like this. And they swim down, 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 and Luxbren show up and help them. Kord tells us later on that they push them forward. They help them get through and into this tunnel or whatever is down here. They guided us sped us as we swam. My father has always had the blessing of the Spren. They used to strengthen his arms when he drew the bow of hours in the peaks.
I want to know about that. What is the bow of hours? Right? It's too much juicy stuff going on. We don't know what's going on.
We're getting teased so much here. And so yeah, they end up in a room under the water, and Kord finds some shard plate. She's like, treasure! It's plate! Oh my gosh! The gods heard my prayers and have led me to him. But Risen is much more interested in this mural on the wall. It says there's actually murals, plural. People with hands forward, falling through what appeared to be portals and emerging into the light. All right. Then they find a bunch of soul casters. 8 in total, which is like crazy riches. Soul casters are super rare as well. And then the mural she gets most interested in, circular inlaid with gold foil, seems to glow on its own, writing in weird, unfamiliar script. The middle is like an exploding sun, which was divided into mostly symmetrical pieces, 4 of them, each in turn breaking into 4 smaller pieces. So if something breaks into 4 pieces and each of those break into 4 pieces, how many pieces do we have? Oh, hey.
16.
It's that number again. Yeah, it's that number again. She feels something emanating from it. Resignation, confidence, understanding. You were brought here, she thought to herself, by one of the guardians of ancient sins. And she's like, wait, that wasn't me thinking that, because I don't know what the hell that means. But it somehow makes sense anyway. You were. There are a few of them left, and so the sleepless take up the task. All right. That makes complete sense to everyone,
This
right?
is completely normal. Nothing weird about this.
And the mural's calling to her, and Cord is looking for gemstones to charge up her newly found plate. And she's like, yeah, maybe in there, there's some light in that direction. Go look over there. And as she's looking at the exploding sun, the words say, accept it, know it, and then all in caps, change. And she says yes, and something goes into her. Coming from the mural, searing her skull, it joined with her and consumed her. So, okay, that sounds not disturbing at all. And afterwards, everything's fine, except that the mural no longer seems interesting. And she's found a little bit of self-confidence. She's like, I'm not useless. I'm never going to sink into that self-pity again. I'm far from useless. It's time to prove that she deserved Vistum's trust. And that's the end of the chapters. So for next time, we're finishing it. There's 3 chapters and an epilogue left. 17, 18, 19, and epilogue. So what do you guys think? What the hell did any of that mean? What's going to happen? How are we going to wrap all this stuff up?
Albert, cliffhanger to end on. Yeah, a lot of information just presented to us that I wasn't expecting to happen in that set of chapters, I guess, from the onset. Look, I'm sort of hoping for Risen that whatever's just happened, she'll be able to walk again. She just wants it so badly. Some kind of investiture. Sounds like pretty high up investiture. Infusing her? I don't know. I think there's probably a lot of significance to that. I would like to think, I mean, we're only a couple of chapters out from the end. I don't know that there's going to be like a big showdown of the sleepless or something. I feel like something has to show up on the island itself to create some conflict, but I don't know. They seem to be preoccupied on the boat at the moment. If this is the thing that they didn't want her to get, well, that's done now. I don't know. Might as well move on. You're probably not going to be able to destroy these people anymore. Maybe she'll be able to use the plate or infuse the plate, and now you've got radiance and all sorts of cool powers to defeat them with. So I think the crab people are probably just gonna scuttle back to where they came from at the moment, not the island, elsewhere. Go back to spying on other things. Cheery, I reckon. I don't know. It's maybe more Spren like than we could give credit for. I don't know. The Luxspren and Cheery all like hanging out together, and then having them led, like the Luxspren led them to safety. I don't know. I kind of like to think that Cheery was maybe involved. So I don't think Cheery is gone, but maybe not really kind of in pet form anymore. Maybe like, I don't know, like the equivalent of like a familiar or something could be kind of cool. The Oath Gate, they can't open it, so they're not going to be able to go back through, unless they were able to communicate with the other side and say, hey, open it up, send someone. But it's still locked, I think, from their side, unless Risen is now going to be able to open the Oath Gate. Maybe they could get back to Irithyru. Yeah, look, I think all will be well in the end. We're not going to lose anyone, I hope. Yeah, I don't know. There's so much that could happen. When you say it's only 3 chapters and an epilogue, like, there's so much that could happen, but not really a lot of time. And there's a lot that has to be kind of wrapped up. So, more ramblings of a crazy person than actual predictions, I think.
Isn't that always how it ends up when we get right to the end of the book, where it's just like,
I think so.
how on earth is this all going to get worked through?
Mm.
And there's always so many things like up in the air, so many things happening. I like this idea that the sleepless are, they're doing all this, they're attacking stuff, and you're like, yes, she may have just gotten what they didn't want her to get, so maybe we're done with that part. That's an interesting thought. Yeah, I hadn't considered if that is what they were guarding, then it's done. You failed. Sorry about your luck. I don't.
You thought you failed before. Wow.
Now you extra failed. So yeah, that could. I mean, yeah. What does happen then? Do they just, like you say, did they just take off, or I don't.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I feel like they have a reason for doing what they're doing, but I don't know that they would be like the enemy. You know, they're spying on everything. They seem to have the best interests of the Cosmere at heart, but I guess every side thinks they're doing the right thing,
Right.
don't they? So yeah, you never really know. There's a bit of information there that we're missing that would be nice to fill.
It would be nice to have information. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, there, like I said at the beginning of the episode, a lot of questions here, not a lot of answers just yet, and I don't know that we're gonna get all the answers by the end. I have been thinking, kind of while we've been talking, going through things. Like, yeah, there's obviously some significance with whatever it is she found. She absorbed something, and so I was trying to kind of think like what could that be, and it didn't really come. I didn't come up with like an interesting theory until Data you mentioned like 16, and that's like that's a super important number in the Cosmere. I'm like, wait, 16, okay. Got some kind of mural with 16 pieces, and then she absorbs, I guess, like the whole thing, right? So like what? So I was trying to be like, how massive is this power? Because at first I thought maybe, oh, maybe this is gonna make her a radiant or something, right? But I don't know. It seems almost bigger than that with the 16 thing. So then I was trying to figure out like what could that mean? And then I started thinking about like the novella itself. And it's like it's called Dawnshard, but we don't know what Dawnshard is.
Mm-hmm.
Like I it says shard in the title, so that makes me think it has something to do with a shard. So I'm almost wondering, like, did she just absorb some kind of shard power? Because that would be wild, and it would definitely make sense that like the Sleepless would not want her to get that, because that is a lot of power.
Yeah.
And if they don't trust humans, then like that is something that could be a major issue with them. And so just thinking through like all of the pieces that we have so far, I feel like we don't have enough information to say that's what happened. But with you talking about 16 pieces and other things like that, I feel like that's as good of a guess as I could make at this point. I would say I don't know what that means for the story as a whole. Does that make Risen a much more important character going forward in these books? Like, is she going to be a main player in the rest of the Stormlight books? If so, like what shape does that take? What does that look like? So, but yeah, that's like the best I've got right now, especially since we haven't really heard or known what Dawnshard means, what Dawnshard is. That's kind of like where my head is at this point. So, but what does that mean for the end of this novella? I don't know, because like if she's got the power and it is shard power, I feel like that's not something that you can just be like, and maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't feel like it's something that I can just be like, oh, here, you just have this power now. I don't want it. Or here, I'll put it back in the mural. Like, I don't know how that would work in a practical way. So that's like, what is the resolution with the Sleepless? Like, now that they know she has it, are they going to be like, well, you have it, nothing we can do now? Like you guys were kind of saying before, or like what does the rest of that look like? So how it's going to wrap up, I'm not sure, but that's kind of the best theory that I can think of at this point.
I think that that's a good call out that we haven't really addressed much, is that novel is called Dawnshard. We know Dawnshards are some sort of special thing. We've only heard like fifth hand rumors or whatever before now, but like, yeah, there's some sort of thing like the Honor Blades, legendary, blah, blah, blah. So it's got to come into play at some point, right?
Yeah. But, with us being on Roshar, shard doesn't always mean like, big power shard, but the fact that you said 16 and then the 16 pieces, like that's what made me kind of go that way. Cause I'm like, well, it doesn't necessarily mean this, but it could mean this. So that's kind of like where my head's at.
That's fair. Yeah. Even if this is not that, we got one episode left for the title to make some sort of freaking sense. So
That's true.
It's like we just finished book 2 of Dungeon Crawler Carl series on Don't Gaslight Me, Jesus.
Oh yeah, I'm way behind.
Book was called Carl's Doomsday Scenario, and very minor spoiler, you don't find out what that means until like the last episode of the show that we did. So Mike spent the whole time being like, "Is this the Doomsday Scenario? Is that the Doomsday Scenario? Like, it's got to come in somewhere, right?" So it looks like we may have a similar situation here, but this was only 4 episodes, so it's not so bad.
Yeah, not as long of a wait.
But yeah, if it does have something to do with like big capital S sort of shards, then that's a major development for this novella to be thrown in there, whatever it ends up being.
Right. Which we can't put that past Brandon. I feel like Nail's turn kind of comes, maybe not. Maybe his turn doesn't come in the Lift novella, but like we definitely get a lot of more interesting information about him in that. So
yeah, we see the start of it, if nothing else. Yeah, he finally acknowledges maybe I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know either. I like the other two's theories, so I'm not really sure. I don't know. Like, I've sort of turned in my head. I'm like, I don't really know how any of this is going to pan out. So at this point, I'm just like, maybe let's just go with a fun one. Maybe like, because of there's mention of all like the chasm fiends and everything washing up here, we expect the monster eating Huio to be a chasm fiend, but maybe it's a Santhid. Maybe the Santhids here are antagonistic for some reason.
Ooh, do they have to kill it then?
I mean, yeah, it's like
bad hoodoo.
Yeah, well, it's like you got to do what's right, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe we get some more perspective on the Santhids. Yeah, no, I'm at a loss as to where this is going. I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy the ride. And I feel like that happens to me a lot more on the shorter stories than on the big ones. I'm just like, this is going by so fast, I can't predict shit.
But it's a fun ride at least. So we got that going for us. Yeah. I mean, yeah, Tress was kind of similar, right? It was just like, this ride is so fun that I don't even want to spend too much time predicting. Let's just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Good times. Yeah. Okay. Well, cool. In that case, let us then move into doing a couple of emails. And all right, let's see. We got a few emails. I think we got like 4 new ones this week, but we'll try to finish up some of the older ones first. The first one is called Cosmere Maps, and it's from Julia. Hello all, emailing again as I'm almost caught up with your recordings, and recently I think it was Jamie asking about wanting to know where everyone was on the map, and it made me wonder if you all knew about this website, cosmeremaps.com. I do love me some maps. They have interactive maps for both Scadrial and Roshar, where you can see where most main characters are on the map. The only spoilery thing, besides obviously scrolling ahead of where you are in the book, is that you can switch to Shadesmate. I'm sorry, I assume that's Shadesmar. The Shadesmar version, and see where they are in that realm as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, since you know now the character's journey there, I think it's a great time to explore it. Obviously, Data, if you think they shouldn't see it yet, maybe have them hold off. Appreciate the work that you all put into this, especially the patience to read these books this slow, Julia. So, I have seen that website before, but I had honestly kind of forgotten about it because it had been a bit. Very cool. Thank you for sending us that, Julia. I think I'm going to look more closely before I say whether you guys should be looking at that, but that is kind of neat. Oh yeah, it goes like chapter by chapter. Where are these people in each chapter of a book? That's a
great idea.
Yeah. So much work somebody put into that. So yes, I'm going to take a closer look at that and then share it with y'all later, maybe. Our next email. Where on earth? Oh, okay. Sorry. I responded to part of this and then it split up from the second part of it. This one is from Michael. I've been listening since the original volcano theory, and it's been a pleasure as you all have worked through the Cosmere. My jaw still drops when you guys make an accurate prediction early. Joe made me a soother way back when. Aren't I good? I'm like Breeze without the alcoholic nature. I'm with you all on Tress not being a good place for first-time Cosmere readers. I feel like that ending would be very weird and almost Deus Ex Machina if you didn't know about the Cosmere. I wouldn't recommend any of the secret projects for first-time readers. Also, Data's slip of the Vasher reveal is my all-time favorite moment. I burst out laughing at work and kept replaying it. The initial recognition by Joe of his slip and Data realizing he couldn't weasel out of it was hilarious. And then Joe totally had a brother gotcha laugh. High comedy.
Yeah, I forget about that sometimes. That was a good moment. Because you've been so good. And I wasn't making fun of you, but you've been so good throughout like the entirety of us recording. Like, it was bound to happen at some point, but it was just awesome.
I mean, it's not the first slip, but it's probably the first slip that I couldn't find a way to cover up. Like the one time early on in Way of Kings, I like said Syl's name and then like turned it into something else because we didn't know her name yet.
Oh, I don't remember that. That's interesting.
Yeah, so you know, that was the first. I had to, after I read this email when he first sent it, I had to go back to listen to it, and it's like I go off on a whole tangent. It's like, yeah, and Vasher said blah 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 blah. And then I finish what I'm saying, and then Joe's like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, I think everybody noticed. At least I know me and Dak did, because Dak was right on my tail. He was like, "Wait, what? Who did you just say?"
Yeah. And then you can hear as he says, you can hear me like there's a pause as I'm thinking about is there a way to cover this?
Can I get out of this? And then you're just like, "Oh shit!"
And then I very
like,
sadly,
backpedaling.
yes, I very sadly just go, "Damn it!"
Oh,
that moment was so good that when it came out, we listened to it again because we were like, "Yeah, that was funny."
yeah, that was classic Data. Yeah. What was the other thing he said? I wanted to comment on. Go back.
Tress not being good for first time readers.
Oh yeah, he said
like
if you didn't know about the character, it would seem Deus Ex Machina. It's still Deus Ex Machina, whether you know about the characters or not. Like it's.
And we talked about that a little bit, I think, in the final episode.
Yeah, it's Deus Ex Machina, no matter how you slice it.
He ends the email with a question for you all. As I won't ask you to rank all the books, though that'd be fascinating. What's like a general top 3 of your favorite Cosmere books? Mine would be The Way of Kings, Words of Radiance, and Hero of Ages.
I think we've had this discussion a little bit before. I feel like as we get further in, we kind of readjust and rethink about it.
Yeah.
I'd say, I don't know, I'd say just by me ranking the books, I would have to say that the 3 Stormlight books we've read, I've ranked them the highest because I like them the most.
Yeah.
Even though I do have issues with pacing, I would say that those are probably my favorite. Although Tress is coming in at a close like 4th. I really liked Tress. I maybe didn't rank it as high as some of the other ones, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, as individual standalone books, I think still Alloy of Law, Oathbringer, and probably Hero of Ages, but yeah, Tress is definitely encroaching on that territory.
Fair, yeah.
For a top 3.
I would agree. Oathbringer, I really enjoyed, and like some of the issues that we've had with pacing and flashbacks and things like that, I liked how it all tied back in. So I would say Oathbringer is probably still my favorite. I really enjoyed Warbreaker until the very, very end. I feel like that was shaping up to be possibly my favorite work that we've read, and then I was like, "What? This is shit." So I still generally like the story. I think it was still pretty good just until the very end, and I feel like if there's ever a second book there, maybe that's the redemption arc for that story. Third, I don't know. I'm not sure. They're all. I think I could walk away saying I've enjoyed all of them. Tress was really fun, actually. I really liked Tress, and definitely in that standalone. But then all those little nuggets of, obviously we've read more of the Cosmere work, so picking up on little things. We've had that discussion at length, but yeah, I did really like that. And I think the first Mistborn book, I think, will always hold a special place. So it was our introduction into this universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair. It can be hard to somebody's like, pick your top 3, and it's like, but they're so good.
Yeah, all of them. It's like asking for priorities at work. Give me my top 3. No, I need 5. No. 3. You get 3.
Yeah, been there. Final Empire is probably like Jamie mentioned, it has a really special place for me because it was the first Brandon book that I read also. And also I like everything about this book. Like the heist format. I love Vin. Vin may be my favorite character in all of the Cosmere still. So that's my top one for sure. And I think Oathbringer probably, like you all have said, especially if I'm like, well, I need to put a Stormlight book in there, Oathbringer is going to be part of the top for me as well. And then honestly, Emperor's Soul might be my favorite individual standalone thing he's done outside of Final Empire. So that might be top 3 for me also.
Well, it's like, yeah, when you bring that up, it's like, are we just talking books or are we talking stories in general? Because if we do that and it opens up all the stuff in Arcanum.
It's true.
Like, Six of the Dusk is still high up there for me.
Yeah, it'll be interesting when we get to, because like I've told you guys, I think we said it on air, but that like he took Six of the Dusk and like chopped it up and made it flashbacks in Isles of the Emberdark, so that like he said, like you can't make people read like a short story that most people have not read before they can read a novel that I'm putting out. So he stuck it in there. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if you feel, when we get there, if you feel like that elevates it, or if you're like, well, that was one of my favorite stories and now I don't like it as much. But yeah, that's a good point, because Six of the Dusk is good. I really like Shadows for Silence and Secret History, honestly. I find Secret History a lot of fun, so that's a good point. Anyway, the email ends with, P.S. I may be late on this, but I hope you keep the pirate song from Tress for Dawnshard, because it's still fitting and awesome, and I don't want it to go away. Which, I mean, yeah, it's not as, Dawnshard's not nearly as piratey. It's still boaty, I guess, for sure. But
you say boaty?
No. Yeah, it's about boats.
It's still boaty.
Still boaty.
Yeah, it's boat-esque.
And yeah, no, the song for this book is Perfect, which is about like being perfect just the way you are. And I felt like for Risen, who's had a lot of trouble accepting like the whole her what's happened to her, I felt like that was a good fit.
Yeah. Although I don't know, I'd argue she's not even the main character. I feel like the Lopin steals the show.
Maybe. Michael sent in a second part of his email. I forgot to add that I know Joe asked us when listeners sniffed out the Vasher thing. I pretty much picked it up right away after his description of wearing weird robes and having a rope belt and making color references, which is true. Vasher always had a rope belt as well.
Yeah. I've forgotten I asked that. It's been a long time ago.
So thank you for your email. Let's do one more quick one. This one is from Matthias. Hey there, Sam Derlanch crew. I'm only a couple of minutes into this week's episode, Dawnshard Part 1, but I had to pause and write in. The Lopin as strong bad would never have occurred to me, but now I won't be able to unsee it. I'm delighted.
Yeah.
Glorious.
How'd you ever learn Scrippy scroll so fast?
And the fact that the Lopin Spren is mute makes him a perfect stand-in for the cheat. Now,
ooh, I like it. Yes.
Which Cosmere character would Homesar be?
Spook?
Homestar or Homsar? Because there are.
Oh, that's true.
It's Homsar.
Homsar.
I
don't even
no
remember.
T.
Oh, I don't even remember Homsar.
If you watched the Trogdor video, which I've watched recently with the kids, Homsar is the one who's like, I do what I'm told.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like someone emailed in like and misspelled Homestar, so they created a whole new character. It's like this little derpy dude with a hat. He's like, I'm crying on the inside.
I have no idea how to cast Homesar.
No.
Let's not even go there.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Matthias.
No. Hang on. The drunk herald, the guy who like I'm just like, if this guy turns out to be a herald, I'll shit a brick. That
yes,
guy.
Rian. Yeah, fair.
But only the drunk one.
Oh yeah, the Ahu version of fair. Okay.
Yep.
And Matthias signs it anyway. Wuzzing to the crapfully yours, Matthias, and then puts in a little image of Trogdor, which I love.
Sure.
Glorious.
Like somebody in the Discord. Actually, it may have been Matthias. Now that I think about it, they sent me after Trogdor came up at some point. They sent me a direct message that was like, "Hey, this company makes like merch, like licensed merch of Trogdor and other like strong bad stuff. So there's like a stuffed Trogdor and
that's cool.
all these things. And there was some very cool stuff there. And because I wear like polos at work, and I'm always looking for interesting ones. They had one with Trogdor on it. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna get that. And it just came like last week.
Oh, nice.
And then we found out that they're closing the office where we work, so I won't have to wear any of the polos I own anymore. And I was like, oh, well,
Yeah.
I'll get a couple uses out of this at least.
Man, I
used to wear that casually.
I spent a lot of time in high school drawing Trogdor.
Put one of those big beefy arms on the back.
Yeah, I remember.
Consummate, please, consummate.
I remember the first time I drew him. One of the girls in my class is like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Oh, you don't even know. It's Trogdor. It's the best."
Oh man, yeah. And one of my kids spotted it on my shirt. Was like, "What's that?" And I was like, "Oh, you have to watch the video now." And since then, the 6-year-olds have been like Trogdor comes in the night, or Trogdor farts in the night, which they thought was the most hilarious joke that they've ever made. So, thank you, Matthias. If anyone wants to send us an email like these folks did, the address is thesanderlanch@gmail.com. If you want to leave us a 5-star review on the podcast platform of your choice, you can email it to that address, and Joe will assign you a misting power. Or if you want to join our Patreon, Joe will assign you a faring power, like he's about to do for Julia. Maybe the same Julia that just emailed us, actually. I'll have to look and see. Julia joined at the ska level this week.
Julia, you're a steel runner. It's fun.
Nice.
It's fun.
Nice.
Just run real fast. You're like,
I read an email from Julia, right? I had to look it up. It is the same Julia who emailed us about the maps.
nice.
So there you go, Julia. Enjoy your I almost said radiant power. Your faring power.
Yeah. Gotta go
And,
fast. Sonic the Hedgehog.
I've been posting my reactions as I'm reading through Moment Zero, the novella. So that's what's going on our Patreon if you want to join now. Also, we talked about last time, but I put up a poll about whether we should read Elsecaller and King Lopen next, and pretty firm no, don't do that from the folks on our Patreon. So probably move after we do our special recap episode. We'll probably move right into Rhythm of War for those wondering. So anyway, remember, in the meantime, for next time, we are going to read the final 3 chapters and an epilogue of Dawnshard to wrap that up. And after that, like I mentioned, we're going to do our review episode, for which I've made a whole Jeopardy game, and I'm very excited. So tune in for that one. That's 4 chapters for next time. If you're following along, read those. Music by Miracle of Sound. And Wasing to the Time of Next. Colo, P.S. Vasher. Haha, I'm Sil. To the cups.